Team Hardlife, Captain Alberto Zertuche here. Alright, so today we'll be doing the two videos of my introducing some old school sharkers and getting their points of view of how they started, maybe a tidbit of some kind of fishing story, and what was their inspiration for all of that, and then see how they like how the shark fishing has evolved. Whether it's good or bad, you know, it's their own opinion. And like I said, you know, I'm going to try and keep everything like I always do, keep it on the level, keep it real. Rest assured, you know, it's all about knowledge and how we can share it and how it's been passed on to them. Or, you know, maybe they were the first of their kind to actually get out there and start shark fishing. I mean, this was something that was totally new in those ages. And so there was a lot of growing pains on both sides. So let's check it out. All right, so today I'm going to be calling Ricky Miller. He's a shark fisherman from Florida, and they've been out there holding it down since the 60s and 70s, and they were the guys that started up the Florida Shark Fishermen. So let's go and get him on the phone real quick. This is Captain Alberto Zertuche with Team Hardlife out of Corpus Christi, and on the phone with me is Mr. Ricky Miller. How you doing, boss?
Oh, hanging in there, fair to middling.
Ah, there you go. Did y'all get cold over here? We got a cold front in the last couple of days.
Yeah, we got a little cold, not too bad. A little bit of rain, a little bit of cool. Last Tuesday, Wednesday, we had marble-sized hail out here.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, what I wanted to go ahead and start with was, did you have a nickname that you would go by, or that they knew you by, with other shark fishermen?
Well, back in the day, there was a couple of us. You know, I was pretty young. I was anywhere from 13, 14, 15 years old. They used to call us frogs. We were the young guys who could get in the kayak, get the baits out in the kayak, and get through the surf, where the old farts, you know, they stayed on the beach or the pier.
Okay, so when you were getting introduced to it, were you a second generation, third generation? Do you know?
Well, when I got introduced to it, I got picked up by a Puerto Rican friend of mine. He had a guy who was taking baits out for him, but that guy kind of went a separate way. And the Puerto Rican guy, he was about in his 40s, and I used to take the baits out for him a lot. And I guess he's the one who really got me started into it. And when I went in 10th grade, I went to school half a day and worked half a day, and went to school half a day, and then bought my own rig. I got a 14-aught Penn Senator, Harnell 130 class unlimited rod with roller guides. And that's where I used to fish all the time with him.
Oh, okay. So y'all did use kayaks back then?
Oh yeah, we went. He had some money and, you know, worked up pretty good. He was a welder and a pipe fitter for the shipyards up in Jacksonville. And we went and had a kayak made, a fiberglass kayak. You know, they sprayed the fiberglass in the two molds and put it together. So we had the old style solid fiberglass kayak that didn't have any kind of bladder or anything in it, you know, but it was about 10 foot long. It was fairly heavy. Basically took almost 2 people to carry it. Mm-hmm. That's what we used to use, the old style stuff.
Oh, wow. All right. So, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you now?
I'll be 61 Wednesday.
Nice. Cool deal. Well, good. That's actually my daughter's birthday, too. April 3rd.
Thursday, I'll be 61.
Oh, okay. Well, then. There you go. Well, happy early birthday.
Well, it's, like I said, I'm not real chipper at the time of year, because it was 3 days after my birthday that my fiance passed on me.
Yes, sir. And that was the video recorded message that we actually shared to our channel, and I do really, again, appreciate you letting us do that, because that was a very important, that was a very big message she put out there, and just kept it nice and simple. So, all right, so what is one of your best shark fishing memories, whether it was a big run, a shark sighting or just something that truly stands out to you?
Yeah, boy. Yeah,
There's probably a few of them, but
well, we did this. This is like 40 some years ago. You know, like 72 up until about 76. And I was pretty young at the time. I've seen some big sharks on the beach. I've seen big bulls, tigers, hammerheads, the old dusky sharks. What stood out to me most, I remember one night on the pier, fishing at Jacksonville Beach Pier with a Cuban friend of mine. We had a guy using a 10-aught hooked into a big hammerhead. And we'd caught some smaller hammerheads that same night. You know, they were getting bigger as they went along. And we hooked into this one big hammerhead. He brought it up to the pier, and it was pretty green. And it swam right underneath the pier, come out the other side. And my Cuban buddy, he grabbed a big gaff that we had there on the pier, and he lowered it down in the water, and he let the Dacron line run through the gap, and he started pulling that line up a little bit and told the other guy, well, strip some of that line off, just pile it up here. And another guy with a wet towel grabbed that slack line and held it up while the shark was running back out. But we got the line up there on the pier, and we tied a bled knot from that Dacron into another bigger reel, a 16-aught on Dacron. Tied a bled knot, and the guy was able to fight that shark the rest of the way on that 16-aught, bring it back to the pier. We were able to gap it, bring it up on the pier. It was about a 13-foot hammerhead.
oh wow!
Yeah.
How long was that fight?
Oh, jeez. I'd say it was at least 2 to 3 hours, if not longer.
Wow. All right. Well, obviously you've been shark fishing quite some time, and you've seen a lot of changes from when you started to what it's become now. How do you feel about all the changes in gear, tackle, and even just the way shark fishing in general is being done, with a lot more of, you know, the catch and release policies and stuff like that?
Well, years ago, from about 78 to 81, I used to live on my own personal boat inside the Port Canaveral over here. And it was a fishing port back then, compared to what it is now. And I fished for snapper and grouper, swordfish. I've been on some rock shrimping boats. And we saw a lot of the boats going out there that used to fish for mackerel, run nets and stuff out there and catch all kinds of sharks in these nets. And they'd bring them up and they would fin them. They just cut the fins off and throw the rest of the shark back in the water. That was a big time thing back then, back in the early or late 70s. And we saw a lot of that. We didn't like too much of that kind of stuff going on, but at the time I was fishing crawler, snapper, and grouper at that time. But my shark fishing kind of slacked off as of like 77, 78, because a lot of my friends, you know, they kind of disappeared and went their separate ways, got married or something. And I moved away from Jacksonville. I moved down here to Port Canaveral, and wasn't really too many people around here that fished the beaches at all, or the pier down here. And I picked up on the other types of fishing. And we saw a lot of that finning, and that was a big no. I can see why they put the moratorium on the sharks. The finning program would kill a lot of sharks. They'd kill tons of them. And the sharks are slow breeders, slow to multiply, slow to grow. And they would kill so many of them, it just, you know, depleted the stocks, and they wouldn't come back. And the longliners, I know a lot of longliners out here go outside Port Canaveral out here and catch swordfish and everything. They catch a lot of sharks too. They pull a shark up there. A lot of the guys don't want nothing to do with a shark. They see a shark, they just cut the line. And a lot of times when they pull the sharks up, they'd have makos, duskies, you know, maybe a tiger or two, maybe a hammerhead. And a lot of times the sharks are already dead because they've been out there hung up on that line for so long that they more or less drown or whatever. But there was no commercial value for them back then for the longlivers, so they didn't keep any of the sharks. They were just a waste to them. They cut the hook off and let them sink back down to the bottom, whatever. Yeah, the moratorium they got on them now, well, back in the day, we used to catch everything, we used to kill everything, and got the jaws out and make our trophies out of them. And then, you know, bury them up on the beach above the high tide mark. But they're not doing that nowadays. It's all catch and release, which is not a bad thing if the guys, you know, keep that kind of practice up. And another thing is, when you go to the beach, you want to leave it exactly the way it was when you got there. You don't leave a mess. I've had to deal with that before.
I think we all have.
Other guys that go out and go fishing. I remember we fished down here south of Marineland a couple times. Me and the Puerto Rican guy, we drove up down there one time, and a group of people come out here and told us we can't fish here because last weekend whoever fished there left a mess on the beach, left a dead shark out there. And the only thing that saved us was there was a handful of people out there that knew us. And they tried to explain to everybody else, it wasn't these guys. These are good guys here. But we knew who it was that left a mess behind. We contended with them when we got back into town, but the people finally realized that it wasn't us and they let us fish there. And we could go there and fish there any time to south of Marineland. And we used to fish from Marineland too. We fished directly behind Marineland. We had a contract with them, the shark hunters of Florida, and they paid us $5 a foot. They were over 5 foot long. And they'd have a couple of guys, we'd get a shark during the day, they'd come down there with a little sling, pick the shark up, carry him over the rocks, go in the back deep, lift him up, and dump him in the big tank they had up there.
So they were still alive?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
We had 13 sharks swimming in that tank at one time.
Jesus.
Various kinds, tigers, hammerhead, lemon sharks, bulls. Yeah.
Okay, well, they were right there too, so it wasn't too much stress on the animal.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Matter of fact, when we were fishing back there behind Marineland one time, I was younger back then, but I caught a hammerhead about 9 foot long, and we picked the hammerhead up because they didn't have a hammerhead in there at the time. They carried her in, dumped her in the tank, and within about 30 minutes or so, she started having pups.
Oh, wow.
And there was a guy there, the public relations guy was there with Marineland, and he knew a guy up in St. Augustine that wrote for the St. Augustine Herald, I think it was. And the guy came down there and he started taking pictures of the shark and everything through the viewing glass, you know, and see the shark drop with her pups. They had a big write-up in the St. Augustine Herald that was the first hammerhead shark in captivity to give birth to pups.
Mm-hmm.
And that was way back then. They had a whole page write-up in the St. Augustine Herald about it.
Wow, nice. Well, I've been seeing a lot of old school pictures of big hammers and tigers and stuff like that. I believe I saw a picture where you were on the beach with like 3 other sharks and y'all were in a shark fishing tournament where you took first place.
Yeah, that was, I got one of those tournaments. It was like a 4th of July tournament. I got the biggest lemon for that year one day. That was a 4-day tournament for the 4th of July. I think I caught the biggest lemon. It was almost 10 foot. But
wow.
A real heavy lemon.
Yeah. So looking at the picture, you could see it had girth.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Well, I really do appreciate your time talking with us. Like I said, it's just reaching out and seeing how it's evolved from what it was to what it is now, and just getting some kind of torch passed down. You know what I mean? Because obviously it came from somewhere. It wasn't just everybody's learning, basically. Everybody had started at one point and have evolved and stuff like that. So I just wanted to touch base with you and see how you got into it, and so forth.
Experience to deal with any kind of a shark. I was fishing on the pier with my mom back in 1968. Well, there was a kid down there that caught a lemon shark, and he was walking them down the pier trying to borrow somebody's knife to cut the jaws out. And nobody would give him a knife because, you know, the skin, double the knife on this and that. I happened to have a pocket knife my dad had given me. And I said, well, here, you can use my pocket knife. And I walked down there, and that was my first view of a real shark. He was cutting the jaws out of his lemon. And he got done, he cleaned the knife up, sharpened it for me, and gave it back to me, you know, and it was fine. But that was 1968, my first experience on the pier with a shark.
Wow.
I was 10 years old at the time.
That is pretty cool. So, all right, Ricky. Well, it was a pleasure talking with you. Thank you for talking with us on my YouTube channel. And again, our thoughts and prayers are with you. You know, during this time period with the passing of your fiance.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
You know, you have a blessed day, sir.
You too. Thank you much.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Well, guys, like I said, you know, everybody starts fishing in one way, shape, or form at whatever level, and it's always at the bottom. For me, it was being, you know, already fishing, but never have done shark fishing. And so I was took out there so I can help them catch bait. I was the master baiter. Well, I learned, you know, and as everyone else does too, and choose to pass on the knowledge. So again, thank you very much. I hope y'all enjoyed a little more history.